Ladies and gentlemen, the day we've all been dreading has finally arrived. Peter James Mckinnon has lied to us. Okay, I don't know if Peter's middle name is James, but I kind of needed a second name for dramatic effect. You know these round cakes that have like the icing and then there's like a cherry on top? So, and when you cut this cake in triangular pieces, sometimes there are pieces that miss the cherry and then you have a slice of cake that doesn't have a cherry. Peter Mckinnon gave us that slice of cake. He didn't give us a slice of cake with the cherry on top. What am I talking about? Recently, Peter Mckinnon made a video about looping backgrounds and showed us how he makes it. But he left a very crucial fact out of those videos. But the fact that his background, what he normally uses on his videos, how can I say this, are on a 3D plane. And there's like a gleam of light coming from one side that adds this whole dramatic effect to it. Well, I think that's what it does. Well, anyway, if that's not what it does, this is like a little bit a step further than what he did, okay? For you to understand what's going on, you need to go on to Peter Mckinnon's channel and watch his video first. And then you know what I'm talking about. Shit, my hat. Anyway, I can't be worried about my hat right now. I know my hair's like all over the place and it's messy, but this is of grave importance. Let's just imagine this as a flat layer and the video is moving along that horizontal plane. But if you take a look at Peter Mckinnon's videos, sometimes this plane is flipped in 3D space. So it's moving like that or like that. And then on the corner, there's like a spotlight or something that's gleaming on it. So there's like a spotlight effect. So it's moving 3D space with the spotlight effect. I hope I'm making sense here. And this Pete is the cherry on the cake, you know. Sometimes you gotta give us the cherry. Okay, you know what, at this point I'm actually over exaggerating. I'm a huge fan of Peter. And I understand that, you know, adding this step just makes the video longer, and it also, you know, makes render time that much longer because, you know, rendering something in 3D space is a little bit more difficult. I get it and I understand it. If you followed Peter's video, before you add the tint, you would be at this spot where you have your, you know, logo. This is my logo. Hi. Jai Waves here, not Peter Mckinnon. This is my logo. If you want something to move in 3D space, you first have to activate that in After Effects. So what do I mean by this? Now, if you go onto the layer and click R, which brings up the rotation parameters, you see that you have a rotation. You have only one parameter. You know, the rotation that goes that way. If you want all three axes, if you want all three axes, you have to click this tiny box-like thing on the top here, just above your timeline. And you click it, and then you have to enable it on the layer. When you enable, you'll see voila. You get 3 parameters for the rotation. Okay, so you have the X, which is, wow, look at that. Look at what happened. It just rotated it on the X-axis, and then you have the Y, which tilts it like that, right? And then you have the Z. Actually, that rotates it. The Z-axis is what you normally have. Okay, so I'm gonna tilt it a little bit, you know, to the left and then upwards. So you have that kind of. I hope my hand gestures are making sense. So that's how you get the 3D thing. Okay, so now if you go back to the tile center, you see it moving in 3D space. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. So now we can go ahead and render it out or set the points. For example, if you watch the video, you need to add keyframes to the tile center, which is on the left top here. So you add your first keyframe there. So once you add a keyframe, and when you go to the layer and hit the key U on the keyboard, it brings up all the keyframes that you added. So tick there. So you add the first keyframe and you go to the last frame, and then you bring it down exactly one length of where the cameras meet. So the way I do this is I hit Ctrl R and I bring these rulers and I set the ruler. So I want this point to be here, right? So I'm just gonna bring this down all the way. So now I know it's, you know, like if I go between the first There's a slight difference, so you can go back up a bit. Yep, so exactly set the keyframes just like in Pete's video. Now once you do that, this is where the tricky part comes in. This is where you need to add like a gleam of light coming in from the corner, right? So this is how I do it. There's so many ways to do it. You can do it using cameras, but the quick and easy way to do it is you right click and you add a new adjustment layer, right? So this is where you add the tint. So I'm gonna go to tint, just like Pete's video. I'm gonna add the tint. Now I'm gonna bring the whites down to a gray color, right? Not to be too far. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a mask to this. Let's get rid of the rulers, Control R to get rid of the rulers. I'm gonna add a mask to this adjustment layer by clicking this square rectangle tool, and then you make sure you have to select this adjustment layer. If not, it will create a shape layer. You don't want that. You need to create a mask. So I'm just gonna draw a square. Now as you can see, this is not what I want. I want what's inside this square to not have the tint, right? So you need to go back down here to masks and click on invert, which inverts it. Now you have to click on the drop down and increase the feather. So as you can see, when you increase the feather, it acts as if, you know, there's light pouring in and it has no hard corner. Now you need to shape this mask to mimic how it would mimic it, to mimic the gleam of light, right? So let's pretend like the top left corner is where the light is coming from. So you can click one of these points on the mask and you can drag them to whatever. So I'm gonna drag one point to the top left, and I'm gonna drag the other to mimic the light like this. Now, oops. So this is all nice and dandy. So it's still too bright. It's still too distracting, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reduce the feather a bit more. So you have a distinct. Right, so now I'm going to add a second tint effect to the original layer at the bottom, right? So I'm going to go down, add the tint. Now, once you come here, we can bring the whites even further down, right? See what I'm doing here? And if you want to reduce the strength of the spotlight, for example, just click on the adjustment layer, go to your tint and change the matte to white selection. You can, you know, bring it a little less. Actually, you can increase that a bit. So you need to play around with this and see how this affects. So if I increase it, right, and then go down here and reduce the overall white levels, then you get a better. Now you have that 3D effect. Let me increase the quality. So now you have that effect where Pete gets in his videos, where it's just not a looping background that's in a 2D space, it's in a 3D space with light coming in from the side. So now it's like way cooler. And that is the slice of cake with a cherry on top. Come on, Pete. This is how it's done. Okay, you know, I just want to reiterate this really fast. Again, I'm a huge fan of Peter Mckinnon. I love his videos and I understand why he left this part out, because it makes the video that much longer and it taxes your computer a lot, and a lot of beginners who actually don't know how to do this don't have computers that work that fast. So yeah, have fun with it, guys. This is how you can make it a little bit cooler.